Hey friends, it's time for That's Life with Julie. Today, 4 words, a very common phrase found throughout the Old Testament portion of the Bible. Here it is. But as for me. I came across this morning. I was reading in the book of Psalms, chapter 59, and in this particular chapter, David is being pursued by Saul. Saul, not David's biggest fan, and had sent men to pursue him and to kill him. So David is surrounded by enemies, and he's describing those men, and he compares them to animals that are hungry, for him and for his death and to see harm come to him. So he describes that. He describes where his strength is. I love it because, he's trusting in God, but he's also very honest about, seriously, someone wants to kill me. So I make my way through that chapter and I get to verse 16, and it reads as such, "But as for me," right prior to that, David's talking about how these men, they're prowling the city, they're howling and growling like animals, just wanting to feast on him, to kill him. And then he says, "But as for me," okay, a choice. David has a choice in this moment and what's going on in his life and circumstances that are beyond his control. He says, "But as for me, I shall sing of your strength. I will joyfully sing of your loving kindness in the morning, for you have been my stronghold." So it's a choice. But as for me, I'm not going to allow the baying of those animalistic people out there and Saul, who wants me dead. I'm not going to allow him. I'm not going to allow that to be the filter by which I begin my morning, by the filter by which I have my relationship with God. And so I thought, this is good. This is good for my book that I'm working on, and this is just good for my life in different circumstances right here today where I am. And so I did a little Googling, a little going through the scripture, looking for things, and here are some "but as for me's" that I found. Let's see if some of these apply to you. Micah 7:7, "But as for me, I will wait patiently. I will wait expectantly for the Lord." Expectantly, believing that God is going to do something expectantly. Psalm 71:14, "But as for me, I will hope continually." That's hard to do. It's hard to do because there are times when you're like the disclaimer in your life. You're the critic. You're the one being like, seriously? Like, you've run this dog how many times? I mean, you have been here, you've done that, you've prayed for this, you've thought there's change, and then this comes up. I mean, really? Yeah, really. But as for me, I will hope continually. Psalm 26:11, "But as for me, I will walk in my integrity." All right? You may choose to live a life utterly different from me. You may choose to use practices in your business. You may use Facebook as a place to really write your mildly racist comments. All right? And don't be getting all personal with that. All right? I'm probably not talking about you. All right? I'm just, in the totality. You may choose to do that. But for me, I'm going to walk in my integrity. And that means I've got to have some integrity to begin with. Psalm 73:28, "But as for me, it is good for me to draw near to God." I was drawing near to God last night. Had some stuff going on. And I sat there and I'm warring, and part of me just wants to just make a list of list. And I literally was just like, okay, Julie, but you've got to do this. You have to draw near to God. You don't have any other choice in this or any other circumstance. Well, you do have a choice. As for me, I choose to draw near. Joshua 24:15, "But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Some of you are in a place where people in your house are choosing not to serve the Lord. All right? But this is still your choice. But as for me, I'm going to walk in my integrity. As for me, I am going to serve the Lord. And the last one, Jeremiah 26:14, "But as for me, I am in your hand." All right, so that's the word for today. But as for me, what are those choices you're going to make today to hope expectantly, to walk in the integrity of your life, to draw near to God, to serve Him faithfully, despite whether anyone else is joining you, and to allow yourself to entrust yourself to a faithful Creator. That's Life with Julie, and I'll talk with you all later.
You're riding high in April, shot back down in May, but I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top.